Guys, how is everybody doing with Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire, releasing in theaters this weekend? I have decided to review the other MonsterVerse movies, starting off with the 2014 Americanized version of Godzilla. To give a little history with me and the big giant lizard, or Godzilla, I guess you could call him. I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan. I do like him. I do like what he has done for the movie genre or horror genre. Some people say he's horror, but really he's not. If you ask me, there's some horror elements, but he's not completely horror. But I've had like a really weird complication history with Godzilla. Now there are a number of his movies that I do like. I have seen a lot of them. I've seen the original 1954 version. Was it 54? Yeah, it was 54. And then you got that version. We don't talk about that one though. And then you got these legendary picture MonsterVerse movies, which I have seen. I have not seen Godzilla King of the Monsters. That will be a first time watch for me. But I have seen this and Godzilla vs. Kong. I haven't seen many of Godzilla movies. I did watch Godzilla Minus One when it finally came to my theater. I absolutely love that movie. And if I could go back and do my top 10 best movies of the year, that would be at my number two because I fucking love that movie. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan. I do enjoy a lot of his movies, but he's not a person that I'm gonna rush out and buy like every toy or every movie or scourge the internet to find every single Godzilla movie. I'm not gonna be one of those guys, but I will admit I'm a fan of Godzilla. I enjoy those type of I do enjoy his movies as like these big creature movies, but there are a lot of like a popcorn fun, as I like to call that type of movie, but yeah, I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan. I'm more of a King Kong guy. I grew up more with him than I did with Godzilla. But as I do this MonsterVerse review series and talk about Godzilla throughout all of these, I'm not gonna be a gigantic like nerd, I guess you could say, throughout this entire review series, like pointing out everything or nothing like that. I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan once again, but I do enjoy some of his movies. Starting off with my positives on Godzilla 2014 is the cast of the film. I really enjoy this cast. There's a lot of big names in here that I really like, mainly like Bryan Cranston, who's in the beginning of this movie a bit. I think he's in this movie for about maybe a half hour ish, maybe less than that. It's probably less than that, but I love Bryan Cranston. I recently talked about Bryan Cranston in my Kung Fu Panda 3 review and my Kung Fu Panda ranking. I'll probably have a card up here or over here, whatever YouTube decides to do for me. When I talked about Kung Fu Panda 3, I'll have my review up here for you to check that out. But yeah, I'm a huge Bryan Cranston fan. I love Breaking Bad. That is my second favorite TV show of all time. It's one of my favorite things of media, period. I love that show so much. And Bryan Cranston is just fantastic in that movie. And I do like him in this movie. He gives off a great performance, as he always does. He gives off a very emotional one to where he loses his wife in this movie and you kind of go on this emotional journey with him time that he does have and he's trying to prove everyone wrong and he's trying to convince people that something isn't wrong with this contaminated area in Japan, I believe it is, and all that. And yeah, so Bryan Cranston was great in this movie. I loved him. And then you got Anna Taylor-Joy, who looks pretty young in this movie. But yet again, he did star Kick-Ass 4 years before this. But I do like Anna Taylor-Joy. Did I just say Anna Taylor-Joy? Excuse me, Aaron Taylor Johnson, not Anna Taylor Joy. They sound pretty familiar to me. But yeah, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's a great actor. I love him in Kick Ass. That's how I really recognize him. And he's going to be Craven the Hunter in the new Craven the Hunter movie, which I think is an interesting cast. But after watching him in Kick Ass stuff like that, I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, he's a great actor. He's great in this movie as like the lead character um who unfortunately lost his mother at a young age in this movie and all that. But yeah, he's a great casting in this movie. He's great in the lead role. He's a pretty enjoyable character. It's kind of I don't think he's in the other MonsterVerse movies, but it's kind of a shame because I really enjoy his character and I would have liked to see him come back, but maybe we'll see him again in the future. Who the fuck knows at this point? And then you got was it the Olsen twins? Like Elizabeth Olsen? One of the Olsens, the one that plays Scarlet Witch in the MCU. I'm just gonna call her Olsen. Is it Elizabeth Olsen? I don't want to look it up any more names. But yeah, I think that's her name. She's not really in this movie much, but I do think she's great, great actress. I love her in the MCU as Scarlet Witch, one of the best castings of all time, if you ask me, in the MCU. But yeah, she's great in this movie. She plays the mom of Aaron Taylor Johnson's kid in this movie, which that's really her main role. And she's also a nurse, so there's not much character development there. But yeah, cast wise, it's great. I really enjoy all of them, mainly Bryan Cranston. Can you tell I like that man? Can you tell I'm a huge fan of him? But yeah, I think the entire cast in this movie is great. They're all all greatly cast. I wouldn't say perfectly, but they're all greatly cast. So no complaints on cast wise. Thing that I'm a huge fan of in movies and video games or anything like that. This is something that anything related to this, I'm a huge fan of, and that is sound design. This movie, Godzilla, has some of the best sound design for monsters I've ever heard. Like the giant mantis or moth or whatever the fuck it is. I think it's a mantis that's the other big creature in this movie. The sound design on that thing is beautiful. Like the scene on like the bridge on the train track. Excuse me, like when they're on the train track and they're waiting for that, and the amazing sound design during that scene. Oh my god, I got my nipples hard. With my bat nipples. Anyways, and also the sound design with Godzilla himself, like his roar and every time he takes a step or like good music cues when he comes up on screen, like sound design wise, it is amazing. I'm a huge fan of sound design and it's something that I've always cherished, something I've always praised. It's amazing in this movie. I absolutely love it. And it's one of my biggest positives of this movie. It probably is my favorite thing about this entire movie. It was just amazing. Every time I think of great sound design, I always think of that train track scene in this movie, and might have been the best scene of this entire movie if I'm being honest, because god damn was that scene amazing. I still think that the VFX and CGI wise is pretty good, especially this movie did come out like 10 years ago, which oh my god, 2014 was a decade ago. Oh my god. But yeah, technology has really changed throughout 10 years, and technology has like really changed a lot. And you got other great looking movies, like you got the recent Godzilla -1 that won an Oscar for best VFX. So this movie might give that Godzilla -1 might give this movie a run for its money, nonetheless. But I do think the VFX are still great. They still hold up well. The movie is only 10 years old, so it's probably not gonna look horrible or age at all, and it doesn't. And I really think they look good. Godzilla and the giant mantis, they look great in this movie. I think they're great designs as well. I really like them. They still look great. There's nothing I can really say that like stands out to where it looks bad. Like none of the fight scenes when they were doing anything looked bad. The only complaint I could say is when gets his like fire breath, where it kind of just looked funny, kind of to where it just kind of looked out of place during his design and during like fight scenes and all that. There, I was like, well, that kind of looks a little weird. That was the only thing I really saw VFX wise. I kind of uh, concerned me ish, or I have a complaint with. But yeah, VFX wise, it still holds up with this movie, and I think it's still great. I also really like Godzilla's design in this movie. If you are going to make a Godzilla movie, then you better have a good design, which I don't think there's been a horrible Godzilla design, but yet again, I haven't seen many Godzilla movies, but the designs of Godzilla I've seen, I don't really think there's a horrible one. There might be. I might get that one Godzilla fan in the comments going, well, actually, there's one like this. So, let me know. Is there a bad Godzilla design out there? I'd really like to know, but anyways, I do like the design of this. I do like how black he is, like how spiny like how his scales are really pokey and all that. I remember buying a toy of that Godzilla because I was obsessed with that design. But the scales on the back, they were sharp as fuck. Kept cutting myself on the shit because it was so sharp. But yeah, I really like his design. I think it's a very creative design. It really matches this universe. It really matches this movie and its dark tone. I just really enjoy it. It's nothing that I would say like offends me as a Godzilla fan because I want to know what Godzilla fans think of this design. But I think it looks great. They haven't really changed it really at all throughout this entire universe. except for Godzilla X Kong when he turns purple. Or is it pink? I think it was purple. Um, but anyways, I really like his design. It's a great Godzilla design, but I don't think it's by far the best. I'm gonna compare this movie to Godzilla Minus One a lot because I love that movie, but I do think the Minus One design is better than this, and it kind of makes this version look a little tame. But I still think the design is pretty good. Thing that I really noticed and how much I really enjoyed about this movie on this rewatch is the action in this movie is actually really good. Like the part where all the military guys are falling out of the sky, and you see like an as they're falling, you see Godzilla and the giant mantis fighting and all that. It's more like the fight scenes that are action, and how like the military tries to take out the mantis and they're shooting at it. Like that bridge scene with Godzilla, that was a great scene in this movie. Action wise, it's something that I never noticed while watching this movie before, but I thought it was great. It's something I never noticed when I watched this movie, but I think it was fun and it kept me like on my seat. It was like, oh, that's pretty cool looking. Like it's mostly with the giant monsters, really, which makes sense. It's a Godzilla movie, so. But yeah, I think that the action in this movie was actually really fun and it was really cool. It's something I really that's not something I expected to walk out liking watching this movie again, but I did like that. It was cool. Final positive is I do really like the final battle of this movie, or battles, or the battle going on in this movie towards the end of the movie where it's the Godzilla versus the Mantis. I think that was a pretty cool scene to where, especially the part where he grabs like the Mantis, opens his mouth, and breathes his fire into his mouth to kill him, and then his head falls off. Like that was a cool scene in this movie. Or when when Godzilla's getting tag teamed or double teamed. Huh. Anyways, that part was pretty cool where they were just beating the shit out of him. It was 2 against 1. That was a fun scene. Again, this movie's more like popcorn fun in a way, as I like to call it. But yeah, like the final battle, it was great. I loved seeing it. It was a lot of fun, and it was just a kick-ass final battle. And especially if you're gonna get these guys finally to fight for the final battle to end the movie, you can't fuck that up really. But yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. Moving on to my negatives, and this is a big negative for me, so I only have one negative, but it's a big negative, is that we don't get to see Godzilla until an hour into this movie. Yeah, sure, we see like glimpses of him and like footage of like when they were trying to kill it at first, when it first happened, when they were nuking the shit out of it to get rid of it, what's going on with my nose and my eye where they were nuking the shit out of it and they were trying to kill it. Like, there was stuff like that they were showing off of Godzilla, but we don't get to see the full Godzilla until an hour into this movie. And it's at a fucking airport, and when the Mantis and the Godzilla are finally gonna face off for the first time and fight, we don't even get to see it in action. We see it over the fucking news. That was disappointing. But I do think the reveal was pretty cool, like that cool, like, music kinda and the flare going around it. You finally get to see it. Like, the reveal is awesome. But after the reveal, where we thought we were going to see those two fight, it doesn't really pay off well. And that's something I'm kind of worried about Gareth Edwards, who's the director of this movie, kind of directing the new Jurassic World movie, or Jurassic City. We don't know what the fuck that movie is going to be called, because he seems to do that, because with this Godzilla movie, he doesn't show off Godzilla until an hour into the movie. And Star Wars Rogue One, although I understand why they did this, they did not really show off Darth Vader a lot, who is kind of like the main person we want to see in Star Wars movies at this point, to where he kind of hides the main star until like an hour-ish into the movie. So I don't know if he's gonna carry that into Jurassic World though. But it's just something that's like I came here to watch a Godzilla movie, and you're not showing me him until like an hour into this movie, and we barely get to see him in the movie. It's really upsetting. Again, I like the reveal. I like what we get to see of Godzilla after his reveal, where he gets to cause destruction and all that. But however, while we're waiting for Godzilla, I was really entertained by seeing the Mantis destroying cities, and I was really entertained by our characters. Maybe that kind of saves the movie a little bit for me, but again, when I'm putting in this movie, I'm wanting to watch a Godzilla movie, not characters trying to kill off this giant, weird mantis. That is not the movie I came to watch. All in all, guys, Godzilla 2014, it's a solid Godzilla movie. It's a fun Godzilla movie. I really enjoy it. It's not going to be for everyone, that is for sure. Now, I wouldn't recommend this to everybody. I do think it's a good start to the MonsterVerse, but this is not a movie that's going to be for everyone. I do think this is a movie that to know your audience, know if you're coming here to see a Godzilla movie, then you won't get it for an hour, but other stuff is going on. The Godzilla's badass. It's not like they treat him as a joke throughout this movie, but they do treat him like a badass. So, it's a fun movie. I would recommend it to some people, not to everybody. It's not going to be for everybody, but it is a fun movie. I had a damn good time with it. Godzilla was awesome in this movie, what we get to see of him. So, this is a movie where I would recommend it, but not to everybody. What do you guys think about Godzilla 2014? Have you seen this movie? What do you think about it? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? Is this one of your favorite Godzilla movies? Is this your favorite Godzilla movie by chance? Let me know in the comments below, excuse me, and we shall talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you will get notified for all of my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I will see you all next time.